Welcome back, y'all. Okay, so I just want to start off by saying I'm super sick right now. So if my voice sounds funny, I'm so sorry. Anyways, Dress to Impress and It Girl recently got into some hot water. For those who haven't noticed yet, 2 items in the baddie pass have been changed completely. The first one being the monster heels, which is only obtainable if you have the diamond pass, and the jester doll. Now I'm gonna be honest with y'all, before I knew about what was happening exactly, I noticed that the jester doll was gone and got replaced with the sheep doll, and I was literally like, wait, this is way better. But when I saw that the monster heels got changed, I actually got upset because they were so cute, and personally I don't really like the reworked ones. But then I found out what exactly happened and why these changes were made. Now about a week before this happened, It Girl was also being accused of stealing from the Sims community. I know it sounds like a lot, but don't worry, I'm gonna talk about everything today. Before we start, you already know the drill. Please do not spread hate towards the devs or anyone mentioned in this video. I know for a lot of people watching, this is probably something that hits close to home, especially if you're an artist or a content creator of any kind. But like always, you can get your point across without being hateful. Or in other words, keep it cute or you'll get the boot. Also y'all, I am working on the DTI video, but they take so long and I'm so sick and I don't want to rush it, so I'm gonna save it for next week. Also, to all my donors out there, I'm gonna include y'all's names in the DTI video just because I feel like it would be a better video to do that in. Lastly, this is all alleged, and Dress to Impress has not released an official statement regarding this issue, but I will say that a lot of the evidence that I've seen is not looking too good. With that being said, let's start off by talking about Dress to Impress. So I'm a bit confused as to what happened first, so if I get the timeline wrong, I'm sorry. But either way, both stories end with 2 creators having their original designs taken by Dress to Impress. The first item being the jester doll. I'm gonna be so honest, I genuinely thought this was like a ripoff Labubu, but based on a Twitter post I found, this doll is actually real and it's created by somebody named Stuffed Serotonin. Now I do want to say that the doll we had in Dress to Impress does not give any justice to the real doll, because the real one is actually so cute. I actually checked out this creator's page and every single doll is so beautiful, I genuinely might buy one. Now from my understanding, this creator has not responded to the situation. However, on October 26th, Dress to Impress did release a statement regarding the rework. Okay, it's not like an official statement because they put it under the tickets section in the server, but this is the only time that I've seen Dress to Impress address it. What is the lamb doll? Due to an issue with the jester doll, we have replaced it with our new lamb doll. Please do not open tickets for this issue. So I'm not 100% sure if the reason the change was made is because people brought it up in the Discord server. I wasn't able to find any early posts on social media talking about the situation. Either I missed it or it's possible people found it on Pinterest and then they started making tickets in the Discord server calling the devs out. Now later on that same day, the monster heels and the diamond pass were also reworked. Now I'm not sure if the original creator of the heels found out, called out the devs, and that's why the change was made, but based on the times of each post that I saw, it seems like the community started calling out the devs regarding the heels as well, and then about a day later, the original creator of the heels posted on their Instagram story saying, "You're copying and it's not even pretty," and they tagged the original Dress to Impress account. Now the new heels honestly do not look that good. That's just my personal opinion. I feel like they would have looked better if it had some type of heel in the back, but it is what it is. Now this next part had me going like, because the statement you see on the Dress to Impress server is completely different from what people were saying. We've temporarily removed the heel mesh due to some issues. Our team is already working on a new heel mesh and new toggle options, so don't worry, they'll be back soon. Please do not open tickets for this issue. Now I don't know about y'all, but the way the statement came off, it's kind of like saying there was something wrong with the heels because it talked about mesh, so they had to take them down to fix it. But based on what we've seen, I don't think that's the case. And the crazy part is that the reworked heels are actually having an issue. I found this video by somebody named Jessica where they basically showed the heels being super glitchy. Now the original creator of the heels is named Gravelines Theo, and if you scroll down on their Instagram post, it shows that these heels have been around since 2018. Now I was a little curious, so I went under their post and there's so many comments comments from people saying that they need a copyright Dress to Impress. I'm not sure if the creator is planning on doing anything, especially since the heels got reworked. However, the Batty Pass released on October 16th, so I'm not sure if the person's gonna be like, hey, I need some of that money y'all got from the Diamond Pass. There could be some legal issues going on in the background, we may never know, or it could stop here. Now, even if Dress to Impress doesn't get into any issues regarding this should definitely be a learning lesson, and in the future if they do something like this again, they need to at least get permission and give credit to the original creator. Or like this Twitter user said, just hire a concept artist for items. So many people would actually be down to do it. It would solve so many issues. I'll go ahead and give my final thoughts towards the end of the video, but with that, let's move on to It Girl. So the way that I and many other people found out about the It Girl stealing allegations was through Twitter. A Twitter account named Sims Community made a post that said, Roblox creators caught stealing the Sims 4 CC for game It Girl, and a link to an article written by Raven Dancer on the Sims Community website. The article starts off by saying, in a not too shocking turn of events, the Roblox fashion game It Girl has been found to contain illegally converted the Sims 4 CC assets. These assets have been added, converted, and are currently being sold for the Roblox exclusive Robux currency on the in-game player-to-player marketplace. Now, I was a bit confused at first as to what they meant exactly, but once I got to the examples, I understood what they were trying to say. So if you play Sims like me, then you already know there's a bunch of people who love to make mods for the game. And one of the main things that I loved about mods was the hairstyles, clothing, and accessories, because the ones that were given by EA were kind of a flop. Now, Sim mods cannot be sold based on what EA rules say, so this basically means that Sim modders make a bunch of assets for free. Now here's where the issue with It Girl comes in. People in the Sims community discovered that certain pieces in the VIP section of It Girl were taken from Sims mod creators. These creators being Lear XV, Sunberry, and Madeline. In the side-by-side comparisons, you see 2 dresses, 1 top, and 1 pair of shoes that came directly from the Sims mod page. I also have screenshots showing where these specific items were located in the VIP section. The only item that is not in VIP, and I believe is still in the game, is the yellow dress. This one can be found in the free section. The article later says, while it's one thing to take inspiration from a piece of custom content, it's quite another to outright extract and publish it on another website. Doubly so as these assets are currently up for sale for Robux on the Roblox Interplayer Marketplace. Of course, it's not in the actual marketplace for Roblox. I think the better way of saying it is that it's behind a paywall. But pretty much what the person is trying to say is that this violates Sims 4 TOS, and it's illegal for these items to be monetized. Now, they did link the Reddit post that was calling this issue out, but the funny part is that one of the top comments under the Reddit post says, the mod creators also get their stuff from Zepeto, by the way. It isn't their original mesh, so if you're going to accuse someone of copying, make sure that the creator made the mesh themselves, as it is not their original content. I also found some tweets replying to the Sims community post which said, Sims CC creators been stealing from IMVU for years. Why is this news? And another tweet says, CC creators have been stealing assets from Second Life IMVU since the end of Sims 3 era. Well, either way though, I do think it's a little bit shady to take something free from a website and then put it behind a paywall. Don't get me wrong, I love It Girl, I think it's such a cute game, but this decision doesn't feel morally correct. However, It Girl did address the issue with their community and remove the items in VIP. The statement on Discord said, it has recently come to our attention that a few items in the game that were sourced from a free model website weren't to be used in other games. These items were added to the game during It Girl's development stage, and since then, we've moved away from using items from these sites in favor of commissioning / hand creating all of our items, which accounts for 99% of our items. About a year ago, some other items were brought to our attention and were swiftly removed and replaced, but these seem to have slipped through the cracks until now. We have already removed the items from the game and they will be replaced with custom-made items in the future. Now, I am happy they addressed the issue, but it wasn't mentioned that these items were put behind the VIP paywall, but I guess it's better than not to address it at all. And I'm glad that the It Girl team is commissioning pieces instead. With that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the next section. As always, I made a community post asking players how they felt about the situation with Dress to Impress. Here's a couple of comments that I found interesting. The first comment is from Valerie Without Spoon. It's so upsetting that they did this for a paid pass because like imagine buying the pass just for the heels and then this happens. Angelus commented, the doll design is almost a one-to-one of a doll a small artist made on Instagram, and the heels also are almost an exact copy of the heels another artist on Instagram made. I just wish DTI gave them credit or at least asked if they can use their designs first. A Janeso7356 commented, just saw Ari SMH's video on it and it's hard not to think this. They're too big to straight up copy without credits if this is the exact case. Rainbow Lemonade commented, they've been copying for a while, and while it was fine when they were such a smaller game, it's kinda gross now. Like you're one of the faces of Roblox, one of the biggest games on the platform. Surely you can hire someone to design for you. Angel1CA33 commented, they took designs from a smaller creator and didn't ask. The shoes they put behind a paywall and then the creator called them out and they had to change it. I'm sure it was about the same for the doll. Also, these are smaller creators, so why didn't DTI just ask them? It's not that hard. And the very last comment is from Kylie Bloom. This is not a new thing. Almost every item that the devs created is copied or inspired by small fashion designers. Literally after every new update, when I go to scroll on Pinterest, I randomly find the real pieces. And I don't mind it because it's a fashion game. But it's a major issue if the developers think they can copy designs, not credit them, and then use them in the game behind a paywall. It's no secret that the Diamond Game Pass was created in bad faith. If you actually look at both baddie passes, they only have content for one pass. But the devs clearly added filler runway effects and pink money. Also, it's so interesting how fast they rework the items, and we're still waiting for the new body types, huh? Priorities. And with that, let's go ahead and move on to the final section. Now, if y'all have been watching the channel for a while, you might have heard me talk about this in the past. In an old hot takes video I made, someone commented that the devs need to stop making clothes from real life outfits, and how it's okay to do it sometimes, but not for every piece. The person also says that it's not awful, but the fact that fans accuse every other fashion game of copying Dress to Impress when they can barely create their own designs is crazy. Here's what I responded with.
Okay, so I've seen people saying this for a while now, especially over on Twitter. I personally don't have a problem with them taking inspiration or making pieces from in real life into the game. But I do agree that fans need to stop accusing every fashion game of copying, because at the end of the day, they're all doing their own thing, and I don't feel like they're exactly the same.
Now, at the time, I was unaware of how many pieces were being duped in the game. The only ones that I was aware of was the petal dress and the Madoka set. And the Madoka set actually got taken down due to copyright issues. But even so, it still had some differences to it. I wouldn't say it was a one-of-one copy. As for the petal dress though, that was the exact same dress. But what makes it somewhat unique is the fact that you can toggle off the cage and you can also toggle it to be a gown. Also, both the Madoka set and the petal dress were free. The Madoka set required in-game currency and the petal dress was a limited time item, so it didn't feel like a big deal to me at the time. With that being said though, taking designs from smaller creators without their permission is wrong, and putting it behind a paywall is even worse. Unfortunately, this happens very often in Roblox games, and the problem only gets fixed when players call it out. But just because it's common, does that make it okay? No. However, I have seen some people in the Dress to Impress community say how it's okay for the devs to recreate outfits from bigger companies like Jimmy Choo, since it doesn't financially hurt them. But stealing from smaller creators is unethical and disrespectful. If I'm being honest, at this point, I feel like Dress to Impress should be able to just pay someone to create original designs, or at least reimagine designs. I saw some people bringing up the Haunting Beauty set, saying that it looks similar to one in Infinity Nikki, but the Haunting Beauty set actually looks a lot different. This is a great example of taking inspiration from other fashion pieces and making it your own, which if you ask me, that's fine, but that's not what happened with the Jester doll or the monster heels. I'm not sure if the developers who created these pieces were just scrolling on Pinterest and were like, oh my god, I'm gonna make this, without thinking of consequences, but it is shocking that no one on the team was like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do that without permission, let alone putting it behind the Diamond Pass. I remember when I was involved involved in the art community, I saw so many artists have their artwork stolen and put on AliExpress. It was very sad to see these creators work so hard to build a career and rely on it for survival just for some random to steal the images and sell merch for cheap on AliExpress. Now, I personally didn't experience this with my artwork, but I did experience it with my videos. Sometime earlier this year, someone took my video and pretty much re-uploaded the whole thing. And in their intro, they said something like they were too tired to make the video or something, as if that justified why they re-uploaded my whole video. Thankfully, they took it down when I asked them to, but later they got mad at me for making them take it down. And then they tried to play the victim, saying that it was the most views they ever got, and I took that from them. I wish I was kidding. But my point for bringing this up is that I can relate to what these artists are going through. I know some people are gonna say it's just Roblox, it's not a big deal, but it's easy to say that when you're not being affected by it. In my opinion, I feel like Dress to Impress should address the issue properly instead of just reworking the items with no explanation. I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. As for It Girl, they got called out last year and this year based on what they said, and I genuinely hope this doesn't happen again. If it does, then it makes it hard for us to trust the creators of the game. Same goes for Dress to Impress. And the thing is, I know the developers are very talented, so they can definitely cook something up without having to take designs from other people. Anyways, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. I know my voice sounds so annoying right now because I'm sick, but thank you for sitting through all that. Let me know in the comments down below how you feel about the situation. Do you feel like DTI and It Girl can be redeemed, or do you feel like this is an unforgivable offense? Okay, bye. See you in the next one. Bye. Okay, bye. See you. Bye.